think the most important part of self-growth is being independent and being alone. And really, not to say you don't have anybody to depend on, but figuring out situations on your own will make you grow more as a person. So that could be one bullet point of really focusing on yourself. Focusing on yourself in this world is very hard nowadays, just because with technology and everything going on around you. But if you can kind of limit the outside technologies and the outsides of social media or news or the presence of TV, then you're going into the right step of self-development, and you just take steps, reading, learning. You can scour through the internet and figure out things. I mean, not to say you can't grow in a relationship, but I think it's peaked off at a certain point when you're in the relationship.
Right. There needs to be an emphasis on you, like you said, being independent, because we're not here to just be a one-man army, but we also don't want to get caught in this cycle of being dependent on someone for everything,
right,
and not being able to achieve things ourselves. So to focus on yourself, it's not like we are trying to be the best at everything, and of course it's not feasible to try to be some superhero. You need a team, you need a supporting cast, but you don't want to be some dependent little runt who can't do anything for themselves. So yeah, there's this fine line of taking care of yourself and making sure that we are continuously being better, but it doesn't have to be for us. Us growing and being better, the source of that could be to help other people and to be our best version of ourselves, so the relationships we're in, so the community that we have can flourish.
Right. Focusing on yourself is not a bad thing. Being selfish is not a bad thing. And a lot of people, you're going to do this on your own, blah, 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 you're selfish. It's like, no, I need this time for myself to find who I am.
Right.
And, there's nothing wrong with, even if you are in a relationship, I'm not saying you can't grow yourself and your own independence in your relationship. But if you're already being codependent and you're very dependent on the other person, then there's some signs and there's some signals of, hey, you need to get off your ass and start figuring out who you are as a person and find yourself. A lot of people are so comfortable these days with depending on their other, and if that's you, then you need to reevaluate yourself and figure out what do I love to do. It's not just what does the other person love to do. We, again, as a society, we want to make the other person that we're with happy, so sometimes we just say yes. Yes, okay, yeah, we'll go do that. What do you want to do? Okay, yeah, we'll go do that. Well, it's like, no, what do you want to do? What do you really want to go? No, but it's just to make the other person happy.
Right.
But it's, you compromise too in a relationship. That's a whole nother different topic. But in this world, you need to be selfish. You need to find out who you are. And you're not going to do that, unfortunately, I believe, you're not going to do that unless you're alone. You unless you are fighting those demons or fighting those walls by yourself. And it's not like you can't have friends. It's none of that. But it's just, taking the time to do what you want to do and taking the time to figure out new things, try new things, figure out what you love, figure out what you don't love, figure out who you are as a person. Because you don't want to wake up, look at yourself in the mirror and go, I don't know who I am.
Right.
I don't know what I want to do today. I don't know what I like to do. Well, go figure it out. Go start trying new things. It's just, fortunately, it's just the way life goes. And if you don't figure out who you are, if you don't figure out your passions, then I just don't believe you have the space to really go anywhere.
Yeah, you hit on a lot of good points. Like we just have to, at the core, be aware of how deep everything is. Like in these relationships, you can get caught up in people pleasing.
Yep.
Just saying yes, yes. In reality, you're suffering while you're trying to make other people happy.
And I don't mean to cut you off. That's a very good point that I was just talking to one of my friends about. We're texting back and forth, and she tells me, she goes, you have everything figured out. You know what you love to do, your passions. And it's like, I feel like I just don't know what I love to do. And I'm always, I don't put myself first. I put others first. And I go, well, that's your first problem that you just kind of figured out on your own without having to tell me. You just told me you put other people first. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can always help other people, but you need to do what you need to do first. You need to put yourself first, and then you can go help other people.
Right.
And I told her, I said, unfortunately, you need to learn how to say no to people. And saying no is a very, very hard thing. If you're my best friend, you go, hey man, I really need help with this, but you have priorities that you need to get done first for the day. Hey man, I'm really sorry, but I can't. I need to get this stuff done. Hey, maybe tomorrow. I need to get it done right now. I'm sorry, man, but I really just can't do it. You got to learn how to say no in this world, because ultimately you need to put yourself first. So I told her I don't have everything figured out yet. I told her that. I said I've gone through life and I figure out some of the things that I love to do, and now I keep them with me. And I know only some of my passions. You don't truly figure out who you are for the rest of your life. Every single day you figure out who you are. You're never gonna ultimately 1000% figure out who you are.
Right.
But you can get close if every day you make it a mission. Okay, hey, let's try something today. Maybe I want to go read a book. Don't just leave the ultimatums up to the world. Don't just, one day I'll get to it. Or maybe it's not really a good idea, or I can't do this. It's like no. It's like go try it. And if you don't like it, hey, now you know for a fact you don't like it. I'm huge into I'm gonna do something just because I want to know the outcome.
Yes, that.
I don't like not knowing what happens. If I want to do something, I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna figure it out.
Right. Well, experience is the best teacher, and it's hard as we're in this position where we've been taught so many lessons that we feel obligated to share with others.
Right.
But often people don't understand, and not to their fault at all, because sometimes you just can't fathom it until you have experienced it.
Right, exactly.
And it's so easy to get caught up in so many different, our world is very distracting, simply put. So it's our duty to put ourselves first, but we must be aware of things, the little things that we do get joy from. For me, simply going on walks and feeding my body the proper fuel, it gives me the opportunity to be clear and think in a way that I could decipher everything properly and efficiently. It's really, there's so much to this, and you just have to take things incrementally. You're not going to go from never noticing how you feel to being completely conscious of all your emotions, feelings, perceptions instantly. It's like a process that we have to slowly work on.
Right.
And it's very good that girl was able to blatantly admit she doesn't put herself first.
Right.
And that's the first step for her. She sees it, she knows it. Now she needs to begin to take care of her priorities, what makes her happy.
Right.
And just be honest with other people. Some, like you said, she might have to start saying no to some people, and that's okay.
It's all about, again, this simple word of being selfish. There's an extent to being selfish, but it's self-growth. It's self-love. And now if you don't put yourself first, it's self-sabotage. So figure out, do you want to keep sabotaging yourself for the rest of your life, or do you want to grow? 99.9% of people are going to say, I want to grow.
Right. So if you're really committed to growing, what are just some small things we could do today? It could be if you're used to having 5 Snickers a day, how about you have 3 Snickers today?
Right.
We're not perfect. We can aim for perfection.
Right.
But we have to know we're never perfect. We can aim for it.
Right. And work at yourself every single day. And that's why I love fitness so much, because physically, mentally, it's a little bit more difficult to try and work at yourself. That's a little bit more of researching that you got to do, and a little bit more reading and stuff like that. And hey, if you're not a reader, that's okay. Maybe listen to podcasts like this one here, but fitness is a very, very, very important and big part of my life. One, because it helps me battle the inner stress or maybe inner anxiety that I may have. And that's a way of, one, self-growth mentally, because now I just relieved my mental status of the day. But also, I'm growing myself physically too. I'm working on myself physically. So it doesn't have to be a huge milestone for the day of, man, wow, I did 30 million things today. No, just choose one thing that you want to do today and go conquer it. And if you don't like it, you did it. So now you know, hey, that's something I don't like to do. Or maybe it's like I don't know. Well, if it's I don't know, you need to do it multiple times then and figure out, do you really like this thing? And then, okay, go on to the next thing. You just write, make a list of, hey, here's the things that I want to figure out for myself today. Or maybe it's for the month, and then you subdivide it and put it into the weeks, and then subdivide those weeks into the days, and then time management. Right. So, if you have work today and you work a 12-hour shift, you still have another 12 hours in the day. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit here and watch TV all day and sabotage your mind? Or are you going to maybe pick up a book, or maybe you're going to go for a hike and see if you like hikes, or maybe you're going to go do that one thing that you've always wanted to do, but you just don't know if you actually like it or not. And that's growing as a person. So focusing on yourself doesn't mean that you need to block out everybody else and just be alone. That's not what I'm saying. But you need to put time for yourself to be alone and reflect. And if you have a dog, great, go on a hike with your dog and enjoy nature, and put your phone on do not disturb. And hey, if you want to put one headphone in and maybe listen to some relaxing music while you reflect on your life, or you go sit by a pond and just sightsee, whatever, maybe, or just go for a drive 20 minutes a day, and but just figure out something for yourself. And it's okay to help somebody out once in a while. It's okay, but when it becomes an everyday thing and you're not putting yourself first, you're sabotaging yourself, and that is your own fault. And people need to realize that. People like to put blame on others because they had to do something for them, when in all reality you could have said no. And no is a scary word for some people, but no can also be a very beautiful thing. It's just the way you word it. Hey, if you ask me, hey Fave, can you help me out with this today? But I have my own things to do. I'm like, hey man, not today, but I can make some time for you throughout the week if it really needs to get done. The way you word it. If you just obviously blatantly say no, then obviously some people are going to take that to the heart. Right.
Okay. So you gave me a lot to work with, and first I have to state, isolation is the enemy of excellence. So we are talking about being independent, but we're also not saying that you need to be that one-man army.
Right.
It is so important to get yourself on a hike with your dog, unplugged, alone. That is building your independence. I'm not saying you have to live by yourself with your dog alone.
Right, exactly.
You go and you challenge yourself. You let your mind flow, because to be honest, anyone who is completely codependent on another thing, another human, that is not good. You must be able to at least be happy with your inner being.
You're destroying your own sanity.
Right. By not doing the research, the work, and putting in the time and effort to feel good about oneself, be able to sit by yourself and enjoy yourself, that's not a way to live, because eventually you're stacking up bad habit on bad habit of dependency. It could spiral. Dependency can spiral into so many different aspects of your life. If you're dependent on your girlfriend, you might then be dependent on alcohol. If you're dependent on substances, you might be dependent on worse substances.
Dependent on your own bad habits. You know, it's like a bad habit is coming home from work and watching TV for the rest of the day.
Right.
But you do it every single day. Okay, maybe you have one day where the seventh day where God tells you to rest. That's okay. You know, you rest on a Sunday. You have a day to relax, a day to unwind. Fine, I can understand that. But if you get home from work or whatever you're doing, and you come home and you watch TV every single day, and you do the same old thing every single day, you're depending on that bad habit for happiness, when in turn you're self-sabotaging yourself. So try to cut down that bad habit to, it's not easy. I'm not saying, okay, just shut off the TV and don't watch TV ever again.
Right.
But you need to learn that, sitting at the television for hours and hours and hours is literally burning your brain and burning cells in your brain.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you go watch a YouTube video and you learn something. You could do that, or you watch a historical video and you learn something about history. I think in every moment of our lives, we're learning, right? Even in this podcast, we're learning to be more, useful words and flow with the words and stuff like that. Yes. So even if you need a time of relaxation, go listen to a podcast and something that you like to listen to. Maybe it's football, and you learn about like the football stars back in the day, or you learn about who made football and why did it become a sport, stuff like that. Just learn something that maybe you like to learn, and then eventually what's going to happen is that bad habit over time, you're going to cut down those times, and you're going to want to start learning more, and that's going to be a good habit to develop. And there you are now you are growing as a person. So it's very, very small, minute things that happens in everyday life that can affect your independency and can affect your self-growth. And I was just talking to one of my clients today about this, is that every single decision that you make in every single day, whether you believe it or not, the decision I made to come here and make this podcast with you is going to affect my life. So just remember, whatever you do throughout the day, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's going to the gym, if it's going to work, if it's picking up a pen and paper and writing a diary or a journal, or reading, or drinking a glass of water, or drinking alcohol, or smoking a cigarette, or whatever it is that you do, you are affecting your life.
Right. We
are too complacent in today's day and age, where we just think that we're going to live for the rest of our lives, and we can do whatever we want to our bodies, and we can do whatever we want to our minds.
Oh, that's a good point.
That is self-sabotage. And it's very important to realize what you are putting in your body, what you are reading, what you are watching. That is going to help you grow as a person as well. So if you are just taking every day like, I got tomorrow to do it. I got tomorrow to do it. I got tomorrow to do it. You're never going to grow. Because you're going to keep telling yourself, I got tomorrow to do it. No, you may not have tomorrow to do it. You may not have the next 5 minutes to do it. Take action and start to realize, what do I want to do differently? And what do I need to do? What's the plan? If you're listening to this and you say, wow, I want to change and I want to start growing as a person, I'm not telling you to go break up with your significant other. But maybe you guys are, together too much. That's not a bad thing. But in a way it is, because you're self-sabotaging yourself, because you do every single little thing together. In a way that's not okay. That's codependency.
Yep.
So, you guys are doing every single thing together to the point where it's like, well, hey, can I go do this by myself? And your other significant other's like, well, can I come? And you're like, well, I kind of want to spend time by myself. And it's like, well, why? And then it becomes a fight for no reason.
Right.
That's not how it should be. Hey, can I go do this by myself? Yeah, of course, go ahead. Okay, boom. Your relationship just grew because now trust just grew, and now you're going to do something on your own.
Right.
So I'm not saying, go break up your significant other. But if you're listening to this and you want to grow, and it's now time to realize, what do I need to do in order to grow? Where do I want to grow in my life, and how do I want to grow as a person? But the most important thing is to make a plan.
Right.
Now, it doesn't have to be this amazing engineering blueprint to what you want to do.
Right. No.
But jot down some things. Like if you think of something right now where you're like, hey, Faith talked about I watch TV a little too much. Maybe I should cut down on my TV time and open a book for 20 minutes.
Right.
Okay, cool. Fine. Make little goals for yourself every single day. It doesn't have to be you do something for hours and hours and hours and you're burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
Not what I'm saying at all. I just believe that, take an hour out of your day and write some things down that you want to do, or take an hour out of your day, and if you already figured out what you want to do that thing for that hour and see if you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, you figured out what you don't like and you still grew either way.
Exactly.
So that's what you should do.
Yeah, this life, it's never going to be this perfect bullshit butterfly thing. But you spoke on a lot, and something simple is the tone of voice. When you spoke about saying no, but if you really need my help, yes, I will help you on Wednesday.
Right.
I just can't help you today. It is the tone of voice that is so important. If you ask me something and I say no and don't give you any leading message after I just say no, that's rude.
Right.
But if I say no, when are you free on Friday? Because I have a period from 12 to 3 p.m. If you're free on Friday at that time, we can get that done. It is so important to pay attention, like you said, to every little thing that we do in life. Mm-hmm. If we slam a door, okay, it's okay to get mad. I get mad, I know you get mad.
Right.
But how can we manage our anger? Are we going to let someone make us mad and stay mad for hours?
Right.
Or how about we get angry and we do the work, the mental work, to forgive them and figure out why that argument occurred and how could we maybe prevent it from happening next time? Or this is just an example of the small things in life, how they compound, and how all of this, it's so important that every decision you make, how you carry yourself, how you talk to people, how you treat others, how you show up,
right,
it all compounds. So it's really our duty to be conscious of our every intention, of our every, what is going to occur from me doing this?
Right.
And it's not like we think ahead, like we're not robots. I understand we're going to make errors, but if we make a plan, and so today I'm 150 pounds. Let's say I want to get to 145 pounds. You don't say you're going to get to 100 pounds. You say you're going to lose a little bit. We work in increments.
Right, and even if you make that milestone goal to your 200 pounds, you want to be 140, you need to have little goals in between to reach that milestone, or else it's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Another topic that you said about saying no to friends, family, whatever. You can't choose who you're born with, but choose your friends very wisely. Mm-hmm. Because if you have a friend where they ask you to do something and you say, hey, no, I can't do that today, but I have some time on Wednesday, Thursday, or whatever. Hey, I can't help you right now, but maybe I can help you in a couple of hours, something like that. And they get all mad, and they get frustrated. Is that the friend that you really want to be around? Most likely not. Or maybe maybe you have a talk with them and say that realize that they need to grow as a person. That is for you to decide.
Right.
But most of the time, unfortunately, in this world, is people don't want to change. Or they do want to change, but they don't want to take action for it. So you have to find the 1% of friends that are, maybe they're not. Success is a very broad word.
Yes.
So success does not mean they have a lot of money. Does not mean that they're wealthy. But all this stuff. Success just means maybe they're successful in independency. Maybe they're successful with the job that they do.
Right.
Success can be, mean many, many, many different things. But find friends and choose friends very wisely in the realm of they're successful in having a conversation, communicating. Maybe they have success in something that you don't have and that you want to have. And I'm not saying go find somebody that makes $1 billion and become best friends with them just because they have money.
Not at all.
You just need to have friends that when you have common goals with, there it is, common goals with, you need to find people that have the same goals as you, because listen, I'm not going to go be friends with the guy that's smoking weed every single day and chilling in his basement all day long.
Right.
You know, because that's not my goal. If I wanted to do that, I would have went and done that.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not saying that they can't change, but habits are very deadly. They could either be very deadly or, you know, very progressive.
Yeah.
So, you know, pick and choose who you're friends with, because your friends could also lead you in a direction too without you even realizing it. It's just kind of the way life, the ball rolls, is you have 5 friends that smoke weed every single day and you're the only successful one. What's going to happen is you're going to start to turn the other way, which is the way that you don't want to go down. Choose who you're around with very, very wisely. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to find people that are successful, or if you want to reach your goals. Not saying you can't do it by yourself, but it's easier to do it with others than just do it by yourself.
Right. No, being alone is helpful at times, but we need a supporting cast, like you said, of people with like-minded visions and goals. You are built up by different minds, because I think similar to you, but we also think different. And that's the power of collaborating with people, because when we share ideas, we were grown up, different environments, different people, different personalities. There's so many, we have a lot of similarities, but we also have a lot of differences.
Right, yeah.
So to be aware in general is one of my favorite fucking things, because being aware, it spans into this friend thing as well. For example, I had friends in high school that I loved them. They were funny and entertaining, but I realized, unfortunately, they didn't care about me.
Right.
And just like we're talking about, there was a lot of alleyways that I began to go down, and after a while, I figured out that it wasn't for me. It wasn't going to lead me to my big picture vision. And it was hard, very hard. It's not easy to be aware and notice where things need to change.
And if, you know, and you say that was very hard for you, I'm sure that was it was a fear, right, of losing your quote unquote friends. But let me say this, for all you listening, your biggest fears, behind your biggest fears, are going to be your greatest success stories, and you have grown from not being friends with them anymore. So you may think, you know, if you're very, very, very scared to do something, and there's kind of 2 definitions of scared, is you know, jumping off a cliff that doesn't have water, or doing something that's actually dangerous. Okay, that's a different part. Right. But if you're scared to take a step in life, 99% of the time, it's because there's success right around the corner. Yeah. What's called your amygdala, which is in your brain, is a fear sensor, right? And back in the day, we needed it. Right. For, you know, vicious animals, and I'm talking way, way, way back in the day. When
like there's vicious animals, movement in the brush.
Right, exactly. When we were hunters and gatherers and all this type of stuff. We don't need that anymore. We have developed so much in our brains that, you know, we know what's dangerous, we know what's not dangerous anymore. And so that amygdala is stopping you from being successful. It's stopping you from taking that leap that you need to take. So whenever you feel very, very great fear of, oh man, that job opportunity, you know, it sounds really good, but I just really don't know, because it's probably because you're comfortable, and complacency and comfortability is your biggest door stopper from getting into the door of success. So if you are in a point of your life where you know you need to grow, you know you need to take another step, you don't really know where to take another step, so you step back, and you're now in comfortability and complacency. You're stopping yourself from becoming successful. Listen to my words, because there's a lot of points in my life, and I'm very young, but there's a lot of points in my life where I said, "Ooh, that's scary. Ooh, I'm scared, man. Like I don't know if I should do this." And I look up and God, what am I going to do? I don't know what I need to do. And kind of fucking puts me along and goes, "Hey man, just take the step." There's been so many signs in my life where it's like, this is the scariest point in my life, and this very, very big decision. But 99% of the time, it's all become a success story. It's all me growing and learning from all my experiences.
Right.
So even if you take that step of faith and you're very, very fearful of what's about to happen, you're growing at the same time, because you just took a step. That's growing. You just took that leap of faith and you figured it out, and bad things are going to come along with it. It's not just, just because you do something that's very scary doesn't mean that it's going to be amazing. It could be, but it may be amazing, and there could be little times where it's not so good.
Right.
But 99% of the time, when you take that step and you're very, very fearful of what's about going to happen, it's going to become a success story no matter what. Because you took that leap of faith and you go, I'm going to do this, and you full forge, and you can't put one foot in the door and you can't have the other foot in the door either. You got to go.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest part of growing. It's scary, man. Life is scary.
Yes.
Life's hard, but your everyday decisions are going to become your outcome of your life.
Exactly.
So it's ask yourself, do you want to take this step in growing? If not, you're going to be stuck in the same spot. And I know for most of the people that are listening, you don't want to be stuck in the same spot. You want to grow. You want to become successful. And now it's just to the point where, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
Are you going to sit there and be like, I'll do it tomorrow? Or are you going to write down, are you listening to us right now and you're going to write down on a piece of paper, how am I going to do this? What do I need to do to grow? Where in my life do I need to grow? And make a plan. Right. And figure out, what things do I love to do? And if there's nothing on that piece of paper, you need to, right now, figure out some things.
If someone was in that situation where they really couldn't come up with anything to get on that paper, that would prove that they have been sitting in their comfort zone for far too long. And we are not here having this conversation to make anyone feel bad. But what we're sharing
we want you to grow from this.
Exactly, because we, at one point, were mentally suffering. We were at that step. Do we sit here or do we go into the unknown? And let me tell you, it is much better to put yourself in the unknown than to never try something and to never know what the outcome would be. It's so much better to, even if it's fucking hard, even if it's not all that fun, I promise you, when you put yourself out there and you try something you never did before, something that was just channeling inside of you, when you listen to yourself, you will get these little hints, like you said. I don't know where they're from, but you get hints and you get guidance pushing you towards the things that might challenge you, might be hard, right, but they're going to make you better in the long term. It's hard. It's hard in the moment to understand all of this, but just understand that nothing great comes from being comfortable. We do have to challenge ourselves.
Right. And there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Always. You just gotta find it. No matter how many tunnels you gotta go through to figure it out. Every single thing that I've done in my life has impacted me at this very moment. Now I look at everything that I've done and the decisions that I've made, and you also learn from it. So even if you think you are making the quote-unquote wrong decision, there is never a wrong decision to be made, because you're always learning from the decisions that you continue to make. So grow from the decisions. If you didn't like what you did 2 or 3 years ago, and you're still kind of doing the same thing, you didn't learn. So, if you didn't like something that you did yesterday, or even 2 hours ago, learn from it so you don't do it again. Mm-hmm. And if there's something that you loved to do back in the day and you kind of lost it, maybe figure it out and either figure out how to do it again or a different version of it, or figure out a new thing that you like, Right. But you're always learning from your past mistakes. You're always learning from your past decisions, and hopefully you grow from them. Now, if you're making the same old decision every single day or from 2 years ago, there's a point where it gets to, your mind, and have you asked yourself, what are you doing wrong? Have you asked yourself, why can't I stop doing something that I don't like to do?
Right.
And if you haven't had that decision, or if you haven't had that talk with yourself, then it's time to talk to yourself and look at yourself in the mirror, man or woman, and figure out what needs to change. And if you just kind of shrug and go, well, I don't know what needs to change, you're self-sabotaging yourself, because you can change everything of yourself and of your mind. It's just up to you.
That's such a good point, but so many are stuck in a distraction, a never-ending cycle of being distracted, to the point where they never regain the consciousness to actually ask themselves those questions. That's the start. Let's give these guys a few principles that they could use and that they will instantly begin to grow from. And I think step number 1 would be every day trying to live in the moment and operate your mind in a way where you are asking questions. If you're not asking questions, one simple as this: if you just had a half gallon of motherfucking ice cream and your stomach doesn't feel good, are you going to ask yourself the question, what did I eat and why do I not feel good?
Right.
That's a simple example. We have to ask questions.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the point. Is step number 1, figure out what you're doing wrong, right? Or at least start asking yourself questions. Number 2, figure out what you want to do differently for yourself. For yourself, not for somebody else. Figure out what you want to do differently for yourself. Ask yourself the question, do you even want to grow? And if you say no, there's an issue, because you're stuck in comfortability and you're stuck in complacency. So if you say no, you really need to start asking yourself questions, because you can always grow and you can always change. And number 3, make a plan. Definitely make a plan. If you haven't jotted down anything that we talked about, then start jotting things down. Figure out. You don't have to figure out what you want to do in your life right now. There could be a million things that you want to do in your life. But figure out some hobbies that you may want to try. Figure out some things that you think will help you grow as a person. Jot those down. And then every single day, don't tell me you don't have enough time, because there's 24 hours in a day, and most people only work for 8 to 12 hours a day.
Right.
So you still have another 12 hours, and all you need is 6 to 7 hours of sleep as a human being. Actually, 5 to 6 to...
I prefer 8, but the point is there's 24 hours in the day, motherfuckers. So be conscious of how you spend every moment.
Every moment will reflect. Every moment will affect the outcome of your life. And if you don't want to have a shitty life, then you better start making the decisions to have a better life. So...
what we're really here to preach is our biggest thing. We're not selling you a fucking thing. We're here to give you small steps, realistic things to do that are going to help, that have helped us become better, become happier, become more fulfilled. And, like I say, we have a lot of differences, but we also have a lot of similarities.
And we're not perfect either. I'm sure there's days where, we catch ourselves maybe laying in bed for a little bit too long. We catch ourselves watching TV for a little bit too long. We catch ourselves in these bad habits, but we grow from it. We go, hey man, I watched a little bit too much TV today. I should not be doing that tomorrow. Or hey, I ate this food that didn't really make me feel good, and I need to eat a little bit better. Hey, I didn't go to the gym today. It's small things. It's not huge. Moving mountains type of things. It's just in your everyday life. Everyday habits that you don't even realize because you're so used to doing. So try to be more aware of what you're doing throughout the day and figure out, hey, that is not really good for my health, or hey, that's not really good habit that I've been doing for the past God knows how long.
Or hey, I'm not sure, I'm not completely educated on how this is affecting me, but shit, my throat hurts.
Right.
Maybe you should stop using a vape if your throat hurts. Or it's just simple things.
Stop ignoring the signs.
Stop ignoring the signs. There are simple, everyday things, small things that when you do them over time they compound and you become happier, better, stronger, wealthier, and kinder.
Right.
Just improving the world in general by focusing on you and listening to what needs improvement.
And believe it or not, when you focus on yourself and you grow and you become happier as a person, the people around you are going to notice and start becoming happier as a person and go, hey man, what are you doing? Why are you so happy? Dude, you're glowing today. What's going on?
Right.
2 weeks ago you were all depressed, you were sad, and now you're glowing. Or, hey, 2 years ago you didn't look too good, and you got some muscle on you, man. What did you...
Right.
It's like people are going to notice you working on yourself. And I'm not saying, you want to have attention, but when people start to notice that, the successful people are going to start gravitating towards you and be like, hey, I like that guy. That guy is motivated, or that gal is motivated, or they're doing something different, So, when you work on yourself, you're going to attract a plethora of wealthiness and successfulness. So if you want that for yourself, then you need to focus on the now, be in the moment. Don't worry about what's going to happen in 2 years from now. Don't worry about what happened 2 years ago, right? Focus on yourself and ask yourself, what do I need today to do right now in this very moment to become better? And if you just got home from work, or you just worked overnight, or whenever you're listening to this and you need to sleep, okay, fine, go to sleep. But as soon as you wake up, have your morning routine. Whatever you do, wake up, go get some breakfast, read a little bit, or go get some breakfast, get a notebook down, and figure out what you need to do today in order to be better than yesterday. And that's how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to start taking the steps to grow. And it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy to change.
Right.
But that change is going to make you better in the long run, and that's going to be able to help you grow as a person. So, whatever you're doing, figure out what you want to do for yourself, and figure out what you want to do to change. And now take the steps, write it down, put it on a little piece of paper, and then every day as you do it, cross it off, and then there's going to be plenty more ideas that you're going to have in your head.
Right. I love how you ended that. When you put yourself into this new mission of becoming your best self and just continuously improving upon the prior day, you're going to get flooded with new fucking ideas.
Right.
And it's odd how your brain develops once you get on this mission of growth continuously. But if you guys enjoyed, all I ask, we are continually just trying to be better, and our goal is to help other people. Just a follow, a subscription to let us know that you enjoyed our conversation. We appreciate that.